Yo, this is Richy Nix, and you're listening to Jacked Up Radio.
Back on the program, and well, everyone knows Canada is kind of to blame for Bryan Adams and Celine Dion thanks to some spot-on South Park observations, but it turns out it's not all bad. They also exported Richy Nix, and that dude is on the line with us right now. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Certainly looking forward to talking with you. I just listened to your brand new single, Erase You. It's an excellent record. The song is from your album Fearless, which drops in late July, I believe. Can you tell us a little bit about the album and also the new single?
Well, I'll start off with the album. It's called Fearless, like you said. It drops July 24th, which is coming up pretty close. I spent 2 years working on this album. Normally, I don't spend that long on a record. I kind of pop them out pretty fast, but this one I really wanted to take the time to do it right and to do something that I've been wanting to do, and it's finding a really good blend of metalcore, hip-hop, alternative, and electronic music. To blend all those genres was really hard, and this record, it was my first time actually recording all the guitar work on it as well. Normally I have session players do the guitar parts, but I did them. I also did all the production with a few tracks. There was maybe 2 or 3 tracks where I had Seamless, Cell Dweller, and Josh Money do some programming on the track featured with my programming. So really, to break down the whole album, it's just about real life experiences, the hard times I was going through, and I was going through some pretty hard times, and I feel like writing music was my way of coping, and it was my outlet, and that's how I got through it. And with time, things got better, but that's what got me through it. And I feel like people that don't have a voice will hear the music and be able to relate, and it'll make them feel better, let them know you're not alone. You know, other people go through similar things, and they do make it out alive and become stronger. So that's what Fearless is about, you know, as a whole.
Right. And as for Erase You, as I mentioned, I listened to it, and it sounds, I would say it's fair, hopefully, to put it as sort of an angry, heavy record. Would you agree with that, or do you have a different assessment?
Yeah, it is. There is a lot of frustration in that song. Basically, what inspired me was I never watch television. If I do, it's usually a movie, or I play video games. That's what I prefer to do when I have the time. But I was watching the news, and I realized how many horrible things are going on, and I feel like there's a lot of corruption, and there's a lot of lies within our governments, and it kind of inspired me to write the song, and that's basically what the song is about. My frustration with people that are driving this planet down instead of making it a better place. They're controlled by greed, and they're not looking at the bigger picture, and they could care less about the middle class and lower classes, people suffering and whatnot. So that song is about my frustrations on that topic.
Right. Okay, and also I wanted to mention I'm liking what I hear so far, especially the mix of various styles of rap, rock, and melody, the singing. It reminds me of another favorite artist of mine, Deuce, former Hollywood Undead frontman who's now been doing it and killing it solo for the last little while. Would you ever work with him?
Yeah, I would like to work with Deuce. There's been a lot of fans that reached out to me and him about working together. We talked, nothing came to fruition, maybe because of schedules or who knows, but I think it's something that could happen. I'm open to it. I'm not too sure how he feels about it now. He seemed like he was down. It's kind of funny you mention him, because I remember when I first started putting out music back in the MySpace days, I had gotten a message from some fans saying, hey, you should do some work with these guys called Hollywood Undead. And this is going back like 8 years or however long.
Yeah.
And now in the future, here we are in the present, and people want us to work together. And I think it makes sense, because there's not a lot of people that mix the genres like me and Deuce, and like I do the singing, the rapping, the screaming, and I make the music as well. And it's hard, it's hard to have other artists that kind of do the same thing. So I think it makes sense. I'm down to do it.
Well, you heard it there. Richy Nix is down. Deuce, I'm definitely going to be sending you this interview and trying to get you to do it as well. Also, a couple of fan questions. Angelica Giussino, she is from the Bronx in New York, and she had 2 questions for you. Her first question is, how is the album Fearless different from your other work, in your opinion?
This album is different in just my natural progression as a musician, and even more just as a human being. I have just matured, and I feel like you can hear it in the lyrical content that I've matured as an artist. And even skill-wise, like I said, I normally didn't lay the guitar parts in all the songs, and I did it for the entire record. My production got tighter, and I always wanted to go heavier with the guitars, and I finally got to do that. And the drumming is a lot more technical as well. But I think even just overall meaning, the songs just have a lot of meaning, and I feel like I made them bold enough for more people to be able to relate to them. As to in the past, I used to write a little more personal. Mm-hmm. Like I'd get really deep into personal details, which might alienate people.
Yeah.
But this time, I kept it a little more bold, which I think good art leaves people to their own interpretation.
Sure. Also, she wanted to know what are other accomplishments of yours besides your music career that you think people might find interesting?
Accomplishments that I have already? Well...
It's a difficult question. I wasn't sure how to ask it myself.
Yeah, well, musically, I've always been doing music for, like, ever. Mm-hmm. So most of my accomplishments are through music. But put me on the spot. I'm going to try to think of something.
That's what radio does, man. It puts you on the spot, especially when you go asking some big fans for questions.
Yeah, honestly, I think as far as accomplishments go, I was proud of myself when I worked as a mold maker. It was a really tough job, and I did it for almost 3 years. And I mean, I guess you can call that an accomplishment. And I like helping my family. I think I've accomplished that as a goal in my life. I always help friends and family as much as I can. I'm probably not answering the question exactly how you were looking. I'm not giving you the answer you were looking for, but I can't think of anything. Most of my accomplishments that I'm really proud of have all been within my music career.
Well, that's a good enough answer for me. I certainly think Angelica will be more than happy to find out you had addressed both questions, certainly. Before we wrap up, can you tell us about anything maybe tour-wise that might be coming up to support the record anytime soon, and also where people can go to keep up with all the latest information and where they can get the record, merchandise, that sort of thing?
So as far as touring, I know that me and my label is Fixed, F-I-X-T. We are reaching out to bigger artists so that I can go on tour with them as a supporting act. That's in the works. There's a few bands that I don't want to mention just yet, and we're talking with Joey Sturgis, who actually mixed my record. He produced Asking Alexandria, The Devil Wears Prada, Of Mice and Men, and so on. So we're going to be reaching out to bands that kind of make sense, and see if we can make something work. And if you want to get in touch with me, I think the best way would be on my Twitter, which is at Richy Nix, RICHYNIX, or Facebook, which would be facebook.com/Richy Nix Music. And to get any or CDs or anything like that, we got a bunch of T-shirts, some sweaters coming out, and some music. It's at the Fixed Store /Richy Nix, and that's spelled FIXT store.com/Richy Nix. And that's about it. Get the record when it comes out. Fearless, July 24th. It'll be available on everything, Spotify, iTunes, and if you want a physical copy, go to the Fixed Store.
All right, man. Well, it sounds great. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing the rest of the record myself, and certainly appreciate you taking the time to call in and talk with us about the new record, Fearless.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.